Most people believe the mind is invisible. They believe thoughts live in darkness. They believe intentions are locked behind smiles, behind polite words, behind masks. But the truth is simpler. The mind is never truly hidden. It is always leaking. Through the eyes, through the breath, through the tempo of movement, through the shape of silence, through the body's small confessions. And this is why most people feel betrayed, confused, or played. Not because humans are impossible to understand, but because they never trained the skill of seeing. They live in noise, so they cannot perceive subtlety. They live in reaction, so they cannot recognize patterns. They live in fear, so they do not see reality. They see stories, they see projections, they see what their own hunger wants to see. If you want to read anyone, the first thing you must stop doing is guessing. Guessing is weak, guessing is anxious, guessing creates paranoia, and paranoia will destroy your peace faster than any enemy. Instead, you must learn the Shaolin way. Stillness first, observation second, verification last. This is not magic, this is mastery, because when your mind becomes still, you begin to see what was always there, and what was always there is the language of the body. Here is the paradox. The more desperate you are to know what someone thinks, the less you will know, because desperation shakes your mind. It makes you restless. It makes you suspicious. It makes you interpret everything as a threat, and a shaken mind cannot reflect truth. A shaken mind is like a disturbed lake. It cannot mirror the moon. It cannot mirror the sky. It only mirrors turbulence. But a calm mind is like a silent lake. It reflects everything without effort. It does not chase. It does not force. It simply receives. So if you want to see into others, you must first become still within yourself. Let me bring you into a story. Not because stories are cute, but because stories are training. They bypass resistance. They slip wisdom into your bones. Long ago, in a small village, there lived two brothers. The younger brother worked the fields. His hands were rough, his back bent under the sun. The elder brother stayed inside, not by choice, not by laziness, but because he had lost his sight. People looked at him and assumed weakness. They assumed dependence. They assumed limitation. But limitation, when held with discipline, becomes power. Their crops were often ruined by animals. Night after night, the fields were disturbed. The younger brother grew frustrated. He could have complained. He could have cursed fate. But instead, he created a plan. He built a small shelter in the field, and he placed his blind brother inside. "You cannot see," he told him, "but you can hear. If you sense an animal, raise your voice. That voice will protect what my hands have grown." The blind brother agreed. So he sat in the field, day after day, listening to movement, listening to life, listening to what others ignored. One day, something larger ran through and broke the fence. Not long after, a king arrived on horseback, chasing what he believed was prey. He saw the hut, he saw the blind man, and he asked with authority, "Did you see where the animal went?" The blind man responded without fear, without apology. "Majesty," he said, "I cannot see, but I can tell you this creature is not worth your pursuit." The king felt insulted, then curious. "How can you know the worth of what you cannot see?" he asked. The blind man answered calmly, "Because the mind has its language, and it speaks through behavior. Even an animal speaks through pattern. What you chase is not a strong prize. It is heavy, it is careful, it is protecting something." The king ordered his men to catch the animal alive. When they did, they discovered the blind man's words were accurate. The creature was pregnant. The king felt something rare, wonder, and then he felt something dangerous, desire to own the skill. He brought the blind man close. he began to ask questions. Questions that were not about animals anymore. Questions about secrets, about loyalty, about bloodline, about doubt that haunted the king's own mind. And the blind man answered, not because he was magical, but because he understood the silent language of action. He saw what most people ignore. He noticed what most people miss. He read the mind by reading its footprints. That is the first truth. The mind leaves footprints. People imagine mind reading as mind invasion. They imagine you enter someone's head. That is childish. The master never invades. The master observes. The master reads what is revealed. And what is revealed is always enough when your attention is sharp. But the blind man also revealed another truth. You cannot read others if your mind is scattered, because the first requirement of perception is presence. A mind in the past cannot read the present. A mind in the future cannot notice what is happening now. And most people are not in the present. They are in memory. They are in anxiety. They are in fantasy. So they miss the truth that is right in front of them. This is why the first technique is not eyes. The first technique is not body language. The first technique is not tricks. The first technique is stillness. Calm your mind. Anchor your attention. Become present. Because a present mind sees. A restless mind imagines. Let's build this foundation slowly. Presence is not a mood. Presence is a discipline. Presence is the ability to place your attention here, now, and keep it here. Most people cannot do this. They listen while thinking of what to say next. They look while remembering something painful. They stand in front of a human being while scrolling inside their own mind. They are physically present, but mentally absent. And a mentally absent person cannot read anyone. They can only guess. They can only project. So the master begins with self-mastery. The master learns to calm the mind like calming a wild horse, with patience, with breath, with repetition, not with force, but with discipline. Here is a simple test. When someone speaks to you, can you hear them without preparing your reply? When someone sits in front of you, can you look without evaluating? When someone is silent, can you stay calm without filling the gap? If you cannot, you are not present. And if you are not present, you cannot read. You can only react. Presence is power because presence removes distortion. Presence removes the fog of assumption. Presence removes the noise of fear. Presence makes reality sharp. And now, once stillness is established, the second technique becomes visible. The eyes and the face. The eyes are not simply organs. The eyes are direction. The eyes reveal where attention goes. The eyes reveal where the mind escapes. The eyes reveal where fear hides. The eyes reveal desire. The eyes reveal conflict. And the face is the surface of emotion. It tightens, it releases, it hardens, it softens, often before a single word is spoken. But you must be careful. This skill is not for accusation. This skill is not for hunting lies like a paranoid detective. That path will poison you. It will make you suspicious of everyone. It will make you see enemies everywhere. The master does not seek enemies. The master seeks clarity. So when you read faces, read state, not morality. Read emotion, not good or bad. Read internal condition, not a verdict. Because the human being is complex. Someone can look away because they are shy, not lying. Someone can cross arms because they are cold, not defensive. That is why the master reads patterns. Not single signs, patterns. Look at the gaze. Does it wander? Does it lock? Does it flicker? Does it freeze? Wandering gaze often signals scanning, avoidance, anxiety, or distraction. Locked gaze can signal confidence, interest, dominance, or performance. Flickering gaze can signal nervousness, excitement, uncertainty. Frozen gaze can signal fear, shock, dissociation, internal overwhelm. But again, one sign is not truth. A cluster is truth. Look at blinking. When the nervous system spikes, blinking often increases. When someone is trying to control their expression, blinking can become unnatural. Look at the eyebrows. They narrow when the mind resists. They lift when curiosity awakens. They tighten when tension grows. Look at the jaw. Jaw tension often signals suppressed speech, suppressed anger, suppressed disagreement. Look at the mouth. The mouth compresses when something is held back. The mouth relaxes when trust is present. The mouth corners fall with disappointment. They rise with warmth, but do not fall into the trap of believing you can decode every face like a machine. You are not reading a script. You are reading a living nervous system. Now, let me give you an image. Imagine bamboo in the wind. Bamboo does not lie about the wind. It bends, it sways, it reveals the invisible force. The face is like bamboo. It reveals the winds of thought and emotion. Your job is not to judge the wind. Your job is to notice it. And once you notice it, you gain a rare gift. You stop taking things personally. You stop being easily provoked. You stop being easily fooled, because you can see state. You can see fear. You can see manipulation. You can see sincerity. Not perfectly, but enough. Now the third technique, the body, the hands, the posture, the feet, the breath. This is the language that speaks even when words are polished. Words are designed, bodies are revealed. A person can rehearse a sentence. They cannot rehearse every muscle. A person can craft a smile. They cannot fully control their nervous system. That is why body language is so powerful. Not because it gives you absolute truth, but because it gives you direction. Hands reveal urgency. They reveal restlessness. They reveal tension. They reveal confidence. Hands that fidget often signal nervous energy. Hands that disappear can signal concealment, discomfort, lack of trust, or simply habit. Hands that gesture broadly can signal openness, dominance, excitement. Hands that stay still can signal composure, restraint, or sometimes suppression. Again, patterns. Posture reveals relationship to power. A person who takes space usually feels entitled, confident, or dominant. A person who collapses inward often feels unsure, anxious, or guarded. A person who angles their torso away while speaking may be mentally leaving. A person whose feet point outward often wants escape. Even if their mouth says, "I'm listening," the feet are honest. The feet are the mind's compass. Breathing reveals emotion. When someone becomes anxious, breath becomes shallow. When someone becomes defensive, breath becomes held. When someone is relaxed, breath becomes slow. When someone is excited, breath becomes fast. If you learn to watch breathing, you learn to see the moment emotion shifts, even before words shift. Distance reveals comfort. People who lean in often seek connection, agreement, understanding, or control. People who lean away often seek safety, space, boundary, or exit. Mirroring reveals rapport. If someone unconsciously matches your tempo, your posture, your energy, it often means trust is forming. If someone resists mirroring, it may mean they are guarded or they are controlling the interaction. But again, the master's rule remains. Never take one sign as truth. Read the forest, not the leaf. Read the pattern, not the moment. Now, there is a fourth technique that separates amateurs from masters: calibration. Calibration means you do not guess and believe. You observe and verify gently. Most people make one observation and then build a whole story. They see one glance and decide, he's lying. They see one crossed arm and decide, she hates me. This is childish. It creates conflict. It creates misunderstanding. It creates paranoia. The master calibrates. The master tests softly, not to trap, to understand. How do you calibrate? You change the topic. You ask a simple question. You watch the shift. You introduce a small detail. You watch the reaction. You pause. You watch what fills the pause. You do not force answers. You allow behavior to reveal itself. Calibration is like sharpening a blade. You make small strokes. You don't smash the metal, you refine. Now let's bring this into real life. Because wisdom that stays in stories is entertainment. Wisdom that enters daily life becomes power. Consider dating. Many people want to know, do they like me? They watch texts, emojis, timing, but they ignore the most important thing, presence. If someone likes you, they bring their attention. They don't only bring compliments, they bring attention, they bring consistency, they bring investment. Attraction can be acted. Attention is harder to fake long term. If someone speaks sweetly but their attention is scattered, if they are always half there, if they are always busy, if they disappear and return with excuses, do not chase, do not beg, observe. Because the truth is not hidden, it is shown in priority. Watch their body when you speak. Do they lean in or away? Do they relax or stiffen? Do they brighten when you talk about your life, or do they glaze over? Do their eyes soften when you share something vulnerable, or do they become restless? People reveal interest not by their words, but by their nervous system. The body cannot pretend forever. Now consider the workplace. You want to know if a colleague respects you or if they are playing politics. Watch how they speak about others when those others are absent. That is how they will speak about you when you leave. Watch their reaction when you succeed. Do they celebrate or tighten? Do they ask questions with curiosity or with interrogation? Watch how they give credit. Credit reveals character. Watch how they handle mistakes. Mistakes reveal ego. But again, do not become paranoid. Do not become cynical. Observation does not mean distrust. Observation means clarity. Clarity means you choose the right distance. You choose the right level of vulnerability. You choose the right boundaries. You choose the right relationships, not from fear, but from wisdom. Now consider negotiation. Many people lose in negotiation because they are desperate. Desperation makes you talk too much. Desperation makes you reveal your needs. Desperation makes you accept crumbs. The master negotiates in stillness. The master speaks slowly. The master watches micro-reactions. When you present an offer, watch the breath. Watch the eyes. Watch the posture. If the other person stiffens, you touched resistance. If they relax, you touched agreement. If they become overly excited, you may have offered too much. If they become indifferent, you may not have addressed their true need. Silence is your weapon in negotiation. After you speak, stop. Let silence do the work. Most people cannot handle silence. They fill it with concessions. The master holds silence. The master watches what the other person does when they are uncomfortable. Do they rush to speak? Do they deflect? Do they laugh nervously? Do they push? Do they withdraw? That behavior is their mind speaking. Now consider family. Some of the deepest manipulation happens in family, not because family is evil, but because family is emotional. People know your buttons, they know your wounds, they know your old identity. They can pull you back into childhood with one sentence. That is why reading family is crucial. Watch how certain topics change the room. Watch how certain names change the air. Watch who becomes tense, who becomes defensive, who becomes quiet, who becomes aggressive. And instead of being pulled, breathe, observe, choose. When you read the room, you stop being trapped by it. Now we must go deeper into the ethics of this skill. Because a knife can cut food or cut flesh, the skill of reading people can elevate you or corrupt you. If you use this to manipulate, you will become darker. You will become paranoid. You will lose peace. Because manipulating others requires constant control, constant fear of being discovered. It is exhausting. It is weak. Real mastery is not controlling others. Real mastery is controlling yourself. So the purpose of this skill is not power over people. It is freedom from people's unconscious influence. It is the ability to see clearly so you don't get fooled, so you don't waste energy, so you don't attach to false hopes, so you don't react to false threats. The purpose is clarity, and clarity creates peace. Now, Let's talk about the biggest enemy of mind reading. Not lies, not deception, not acting. The biggest enemy is your own attachment. If you are attached to being liked, you will misread people. You will interpret politeness as love. You will interpret attention as commitment. You will interpret compliments as loyalty. You will ignore red flags because you are hungry. Hunger blinds. If you are attached to being right, you will misread people. You will see disagreement as hostility. You will see questions as attacks. You will become defensive. Defense blinds. If you are attached to control, you will misread people. You will interpret independence as betrayal. You will interpret boundaries as rejection. Control blinds. So before you can read others, you must detox yourself. Not from emotion, but from attachment. Because attachment creates distortion. This is where the Shaolin path returns. Observer, detachment, focus, stillness. These are not just spiritual words. These are the 4 pillars that make perception clean. Observer means you notice without becoming. Detachment means you release the need to force reality. Focus means you protect your attention. Stillness means you act with clarity instead of reacting with heat. Now I will give you a method to avoid distortion. It is called the 3 lenses. Lens 1. What is happening objectively? Facts, behavior, actions, timing, consistency. Lens 2. What story am I creating? Interpretation, fear, hope, projection. Lens 3. What is the pattern over time? Not today, not one moment, time. When you apply these lenses, you become accurate, because you stop being fooled by emotional spikes. Now let's turn this into your complete training protocol. Stillness, observation, calibration, and then mastery. First, stillness training. Every day, you must train your mind to return to the present, not for hours, just consistently. Sit for 5 minutes, feel breath, feel body. Let thoughts pass like clouds. You are not trying to kill thoughts. You are training distance. Distance is power. Second, observation training. When you talk to someone, practice one simple habit. Watch their breath. That's it. Watch breath. Because breath reveals state faster than words. When you notice breath shifts, then look at face and body. Breath becomes your anchor. Third, calibration training. Never accuse based on one sign. Instead, verify gently. Ask open questions. Offer silence. Change topics. Watch shifts. Patterns are truth. Now, I will give you the full 30-day mastery plan. This turns your mind into a blade. Week 1. Presence. Your only goal is to be fully here during conversations. No phone, no drifting, no rehearsing replies. Your mind stays with the person. Notice how much you learn simply by being present. Week 2. Face and eyes. Your only goal is to watch the face without judging. Watch micro shifts, brow tension, mouth compression, smile authenticity, eye direction. But again, no conclusions, only observation. Week 3. Body and distance. Your only goal is to read posture, hands, feet, and space. Notice how comfort changes the body. Notice how discomfort tightens the body. Notice how certain topics create defensive posture. Again, no conclusions, only patterns. Week 4. Calibration and ethics. Your only goal is to verify with humility, test gently, learn the difference between state and truth, learn the difference between anxiety and deception, learn the difference between performance and sincerity, and keep your heart clean, because the moment you use this skill to harm, you lose it. Your perception becomes polluted. Now, let's address a question many people secretly have. Can I really know what someone thinks? The answer is, you can know enough. Not everything, not absolute truth, but enough to navigate safely. Enough to protect your energy. Enough to avoid betrayal. Enough to avoid wasting years on false connections. Enough to choose wisely. And here is the strange truth. As you grow in this skill, you will realize that reading people is not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is becoming someone who does not need to chase certainty, because the most powerful person in the room is not the one who knows everything. It is the one who remains calm even when they do not know. Calm is the highest intelligence. Calm allows patience. Patience reveals truth over time. People cannot fake patterns forever. They can fake moments, but not patterns. So the master does not rush. The master watches time. Time is the great revealer. Time exposes character. Time exposes intention. Time exposes integrity, because integrity is consistent. Now, let me give you a second parable, not from the same story, a new one, a mountain story. There was once a young warrior who came to a temple seeking a secret technique. He said, "Master, teach me how to see through people." The master brought him to a mountain path covered in fog. He said, "Walk with me." As they walked, the young warrior grew impatient. "I cannot see," he said. "This fog is useless." The master stopped and placed a bowl of water on a rock. The water was shaking from the wind. The master said, "Look into the bowl. What do you see?" The warrior looked. He saw only distortion. The master said, "This is your mind. You want to see, but you shake." Then the master waited. The wind softened. The water became still. The reflection became clear. The warrior saw the sky. The master said, "When you stop shaking, you stop guessing. When you stop guessing, you start seeing." The fog does not hide the mountain. Your impatience hides it. That is the entire path. Your impatience is what keeps you blind. Your emotional urgency is what makes you misread. Your need for immediate certainty is what makes you accept illusions. So, become still, and you will see. Now we close with the identity shift. The silent reader. You are not becoming a mind reader like a magician. You are becoming an observer like a mountain. You are becoming someone who sees without reacting, someone who hears without rushing, someone who notices without accusing, someone who knows without needing to prove. When you become this person, your life changes. You stop being fooled by charm. You stop being distracted by noise. You stop being seduced by performance. You stop taking everything personally. You start reading patterns. You start choosing wisely. You start protecting your attention. And attention is sacred. It is your life force. So let me give you the final vow, the final mantra, a calm command to carry into your day. My mind will be still. My eyes will be open. My heart will be clean. I will observe before I judge. I will verify before I assume. I will read patterns, not moments. I will protect my attention as if it were gold. I will not use awareness to harm. I will use awareness to be free. Breathe, watch, stay clear. And your one action today is simple. In your next conversation, reduce your words by 10%. Increase your observation by 10%. Watch the breath, watch the eyes, watch the hands, watch the shift when topics change. Do not accuse, do not conclude. Just collect signals, and you will realize something quietly powerful. People are always speaking, even when they say nothing.